So like I said, that's not a whole lot to do here. So let's go ahead and first take a look at what the problem even is, and then we can talk about how we can fix it. So as I click add message, you'll notice that I'm automatically scrolling, but you'll notice also that the message shows up before the scroll happens, and that's not a super great experience for the users of our app. And if you increased this number here, if we increase it to like 500, then you'll notice a stark difference between the use effect and the use layout effect version. So let's leave that in place. Let's switch this over to use layout effect and then see this difference. So here we go, add message, and boom, like it may be a little bit slow because technically it actually is slow because we're doing this sleep thing here, but we don't see the message appear before we scroll. That scroll happens at the same time the message appears. So that's exactly the behavior that we want. And here's the real difference. Let's take a look at our React hook flow diagram. So remember, when we mount, we run the lazy initializers, we render, we update the DOM, and then we run our layout effects right here. So React does not wait for the browser to paint the screen before it runs these layout effects. This is important because the layout effects need to run before the browser paints the screen. Why is that? Because we're making changes to the DOM in a way that will change what the browser paints. So whereas before we would say, hey, I'm going to add this message, React updates the DOM paints the screen, then we come in here and we update the DOM, and then the browser paints the screen again. So now when we use a layout effect, we have a chance to change stuff in the DOM before the browser has a chance to paint the screen. So the browser only has to paint the screen once, and the user only will see that update that one time. So this isn't really going to fix the slow problem that we have here. Maybe just don't make a slow sibling like this, but you absolutely have situations where there are some components that just take a while to render, or you have a lot of components that are all rendering, and we'll talk about how to fix those in the future when we talk about improving React performance. But in any case, anytime you have a side effect that's going to manipulate the DOM in a way that's observable to the user, you want to do that in a use layout effect. The only other time that I use layout effect is if I want to ensure that this callback is called before any other effects are called, like where we were doing that safe dispatch and checking the mounted status of our component. I wanted to make sure that that ran before any other effects, and so I used use layout effect to ensure that. So to bring it down to a rule, you use effect almost all of the time, and you use layout effect if the side effect that you are performing makes an observable change to the DOM that will require the browser to paint that update that you've made.